December 5th, Joseph Hovsepian.
Let the spark that ignites your passion become a flame that burns with purpose. From an early age, a main theme of Joseph's life could be labeled shenanigans. The first time he tinkered with electronics, he was 10 years old. He discovered that touching ends of a nail to the poles on his father's motorcycle battery created a bright glow, and he gleefully continued this experiment until the inevitable happened. The next morning, when his father tried to start the motorcycle, the battery was dead. His father wasn't happy, but Joseph's love for electronics sprung to life. Another time, he mystified his grandfather. Young Joseph invented a mechanism connected to his bedroom ceiling light. When grandfather lay his head on the pillow, the light turned on, and when the old man sat up, the light turned off. Not everyone involved was entirely amused. But the spark inside Joseph never stopped glowing, and eventually it led to a successful career selling and repairing radios and other electronics. Today, his 80-year-old hands, head, and heart are still fixing businesses. He has a shop and it services antique radios. The theme of his life would shift from shenanigans to restoration. Some of the radios and tape recorders he gets have been neglected for years in a basement or in a garage. Opening them up often reveals dirt, dead bugs, and even mouse droppings. The wiring and the parts inside may be rusty, dried up, melted, or burned. The exterior may be scratched up and discolored. But Joseph takes great pleasure in the process of restoring each piece brought to him. He says, "While I work on these units, I think of God and His workshop, where He takes battered and neglected lives and deals with every little part of them. He fixes what's broken, cleans and polishes what's tarnished or soiled, and refines the entire person. He removes bad habits and vices that have affected the lost soul. Sometimes the process is quick, but other times it's more painful." 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 31 tells us, "Whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God." Understanding the difference that a masterful touch can make to a radio or a person, Joseph approaches people with care and compassion, knowing they can be restored with God's help. Joseph's business is part of his mission field, and he grabs every opportunity to talk with his customers about faith, their eternal souls, and the God who loves them. Next to his business cards on the service counter sit gospel tracts and New Testaments. Joseph said, "I have seen many radios that were discarded become useful and enjoyable again. I've also seen many broken and rejected souls come back to life after the master technician touched them and restored them." Do you have a talent that could meet someone's need? Do you see a way to turn your business into a mission field for sharing the love of Christ? Let the spark that ignites your passion become a flame that burns with purpose.
Well, hey man, Eric Bloom here, growth pastor at Landing Place Church in Commerce City, Colorado. Today is December 5th, and we just heard a story from Joseph Hovsepian. I love this story because it is a man who owned a craft, and that craft became a way for him to be able to love and serve others. Not just to be able to get their radio back in their hands, but also just as a means for this man to be able to connect with other people about Jesus. For me, I'm a pastor. Being a pastor is my main focus. It is as far as like my vocation goes, and my passion and my commitment. While pastoring, I also really love specialty coffee, craft coffee, good coffee. Not just drinking coffee, but also brewing coffee and roasting coffee. When I was in seminary, as I was learning theology in the Bible, I worked at several different cafes. And so as I'm learning about things like Genesis 2 and the creation mandate, and God has given us the gifting and the means and even the calling to steward creation around us for the better. as Adam was in the garden to steward it, that as men that we are to steward the things that God has given us for the better. So I'm learning these things, and I'm learning about the craft of coffee at the same time. And over time, I started to realize, like, wow, I actually like really enjoy serving people a good cup of coffee. Serving for me has been something difficult throughout my Christian journey. I don't typically love serving people by going over to a buddy's house and helping them move. I'm going to help my buddy out for sure, but I'm not going to enjoy it. I don't really love doing those physical labor sort of things, but working at some coffee shops, I realized, like, wow, I really love being able to serve people a good cup of coffee. And I started noticing that started to like just kind of break down some barriers, and I was able to connect with folks who were very different from me, especially even non-believers that believe different things about God. And so over time, I just started realizing, like, I wanted coffee to be an aspect of my ministry, just a little personal part of my ministry. And so my wife and I got this roaster about a year ago, and we started this little coffee business. And now this is not something that we're trying to blow up by any means, but rather it's a means of connection. And there have been so many ways that I've been able to love and serve people and connect with people through roasting and brewing them a good cup of coffee. And so, men, I want to encourage you and challenge you to think, what is an area of your life, an area of passion? It could be a hobby, not even a career, but just something that you are skilled at, that as you hone that craft, it not only brings you joy, but it's a way for you to serve other people. And as a result of serving, it might even create some conversation for you to be able to share Jesus with someone else. What is that thing in your life?